Yo, it's Jivu. I hope you're having a grand day today. And y'all know I'm gonna come at you with more energy than that. Let's go! Woo! Nah, but for real though, I am so excited to be making this video. It's a combination of two of my favorite things, GTA and vehicles. And we all know Rockstar loves gluing stuff together with popsicle sticks, so today I'm gonna be dissecting all of that bullshit. So one of the biggest things that you're gonna have to understand to go through the rest of this video is gonna be handling flags. Basically what that is are labels that Rockstar will assign to certain vehicles to give them specific characteristics. These labels will tell the vehicle how to act during any bit of performance, which can be accelerating, decelerating, turning, jumping off of curbs, anything like that. If you ever thought that the weight simulation in this game felt a little odd, then you'd be right, because what Rockstar does is simply add handling flags to vehicles to make them feel like they're heavier when they don't actually have a true weight. Now what I mean by that is that they'll make heavier vehicles just fly through cars and objects on the map without slowing down as much as lighter vehicles would. A clearer example of how these popsicle sticks are glued together could be taking any heavy vehicle and dropping it on the nose. You can see with the Terabyte in one of my clips here that it just floats on the nose. It doesn't have any weight actually pulling it down towards the ground. Now if we dive a little bit deeper, basically what this means is that suspension upgrades don't actually move the center of mass closer to the ground. Inertia isn't properly being reproduced in situations where you're flying around corners and whatnot. The next thing we're going to talk about is engines. How engines work in GTA is not at all like real vehicles. If you know how real vehicles work, then you'll know that they have a power curve. As you increase in RPM, it's going to increase in horsepower output until you hit peak RPM, where it'll then start to go down. Now I'll put a graphic on screen so that our not so mechanically versed friends can understand exactly what we're talking about. But basically in GTA, it just increases consistently until you hit peak RPM, then you shift to the next gear, which would just be a flat line, and then it would continue to go up and up until you hit your top speed. This means that a lot of vehicles that perform pretty well will actually be limited more by their transmission than their engine power. We'll go more into depth with the transmissions later. I want y'all to understand that all this geeking out isn't for nothing. I'm doing this so that you guys can know how to drive the fastest and waste the least amount of time playing GTA Online. Most of the games that I'm good at just involve using your brain power. I'm not good at any of the first-person shooter games. I do all this so that I can help y'all be just as good as I am, because I do not want to gatekeep this stuff. It feels like I'm gatekeeping it because I've known it for years, but now I'm coming out, I'm letting y'all know. If you appreciate the research and effort that I put into these types of videos, then please like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much. So as we move back from the engine, we get to the transmission and the differential. Basically, gear shifting speed, and if there's any wheel bias towards front wheel drive or rear wheel drive. So back to the point I made earlier, some cars have a really long gear shifting speed, and in the GTA community, it's known as engine delay. Basically, all your power from the engine is just cut off during that gear shifting speed, and it'll really reduce a car's performance. There's nothing you can do to completely remove that delay, and for that reason, some cars are just completely removed from the meta. The only thing right Rockstar does in this regard is that some cars have more gears, some have less. Most of the best cars in the game only have 6 gears because they don't have to have that delay in between getting power when they're shifting. If you don't know what front wheel and rear wheel drive bias is, that's basically how much power is going to the front or the rear wheels during acceleration. This is usually calculated in percentages, so if you have more power going to the front wheel, then you're going to have understeer, and more power going to the rear means oversteer. Again, most of the good cars in the game have a rear wheel drive bias because it's easier to adjust without losing as much speed. Another jerry-rigged characteristic of the game is torque. Torque is not properly reproduced whatsoever. A good way to see this is that supercars will climb mountains and go off-road just as good as any off-road vehicle will. It's difficult to understand the difference between horsepower and torque, so in a very simple way, horsepower is how quickly the power can be made, and torque is how strong that force is. But torque won't matter to you if you only care about GTA, because torque is not properly reproduced whatsoever. All the power and torque is just funneled through engine power. That reconnects back to the point that there's not any true weight simulation, because heavier vehicles, which would generally have more torquey engines, are just given more power to knock through things and not be slowed down as much. I hope y'all have had your notepads and pens ready, because I know I'm flying through this stuff and they're really hard concepts to grasp, so I hope that I'm not going too fast for anybody. I know that we live in a world of brain rot and instant gratification, so I'm just trying to get through it without wasting any time. So as we move through the vehicle and all of its parts, we get to the tires. Different tires do fluctuate grip levels, however, it's not that big of a difference and you can really choose whatever you like. One of the biggest noticeable difference is that off-road tires are just going to be your overall better tire to choose, because as you drive off-road, it feels like you're just driving on normal road, and there are some handling flags associated with it. Some of the cars, when equipped with off-road tires, have handling flags associated with it that let the tire clip through the ground a little bit, meaning that there's less altitude change and less handling fluctuation. This means that with those vehicles, when you're off-road, it's going to be easier to have control and maintain it because you're not going to be flying around as much. As y'all could probably tell by now, it's my first time using the Rockstar editor. I'm just trying to help y'all get some better angles to see how these handling flags truly work and how they can affect your gameplay. If you think I'm doing too much, I'm sorry, but if you're proud of me, then thank you. Thank you. I put a lot of effort. Now we finally landed on the final piece of the car, and that's the spoiler. A lot of people don't know that a spoiler actually does have an effect on the vehicle. However, if a vehicle comes with a spoiler, then it's not going to make a difference. You're going to have to change it to one of the other options, and then it will apply that downforce factor. All of the spoilers have the same downforce factor, so you don't need to put a giant wing on your shit if you don't think it looks good. Now what the downforce factor means, it's in the name. Down force. It pushes down on the back of the car to help it with rollovers, spinouts, and overall bounciness. So this is going to give you better handling around turns and over bumps. Rockstar also puts handling flags on certain vehicles to make them more bouncy than usual, so it's kind of recommended that you put a spoiler on. For an example, the Itali GTB, I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with, and the Cyclone 2, both of those things just love flying off of curbs. Now, everything we've discussed in this video has been there to further your knowledge of GTA and its driving mechanics. If I missed anything, or if there's something that I just don't even know, I'd love for you guys to let me know down in the comments below, because I'm always trying to improve every day too. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Y'all see down there, I'm struggling, 335 subs. I'm trying to get to 1,000. You already know what's up there. So thank you guys so much for watching if you made it all the way through, and I'll see you guys in the next one.